You are now locked in and listening to The Issue.
This guy is a franchise quarterback, and no, I don't want to hear any pushback on that.
It feels like a top 10 roster to me. It feels like it can win a championship.
This is The Issue.
Yo, what's up? We are back. It is The Issue. It is Thursday, December 1st, and we have another episode of The Issue here for you. You know, we took the 2 weeks off about, that was the last, not last week, but the two prior to that we were off. Feel like we have to make it up to you guys a little bit, so we have a fantastic interview today with Tyler King. He is a former Stony Brook linebacker. He entered the transfer portal was it last week?
Monday. It was on Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, the 28th. 28th.
Yes, the 28th of November. Entered the transfer portal, and he has been just blowing up with offers. Brought him on the show today. You will hear that in about 8 to 10-ish minutes. Stick around for that.
You're the numbers guy. I mean, sure, we'll go with that. We need a little countdown or something.
Right.
Get a little clock here.
And then in the second segment, we will have hits and misses and the review of Week 12. We're bumping into the second segment today because when you have a guy like TK come in, sometimes things got to move around.
Speaking of clock management, okay, this isn't even my rant yet. Did you see the Colts on Monday Night Football? Why weren't they calling timeouts sooner on that last possession?
That was bad. They just bled a lot of time off the clock.
Like it's kind of a rule, 2 minute, like the 2 minute drill, right? And you get sacked. That's an automatic. It's an automatic bank timeout.
It makes me think of
just team up.
That was like one of the Bills. That was the Bills game this year, where it was on Monday Night Football.
The Manning cast.
The Manning cast.
No, it was the Broncos. The Broncos had
Right,
it was with the Seahawks against the Seahawks, and Peyton's a timeout. And
they counted it like 25 times.
How many times they counted? Like almost 50 times that he physically called timeout before the Broncos actually called timeout.
Yeah. But pretty good show today. And then in the third segment, we will have predictions for Week 13 and then bets on a budget for Week 13 as well. But opening up with your rant, I know you came in with a bunch to say on college football, NCAA.
Yeah. So I don't normally talk a whole lot of college football, but I thought that was. I mean, viewers told you. America said. That's probably the biggest college football game in the last, decade almost. It's the most viewed one of that rivalry series of the game.
Yeah.
It was like the most viewed college football game, and I want to say the last 5-something years, right? Did 42 million or something like that. Crazy numbers, right? So it's kind of a big deal.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people are afraid to change, right? Tradition is really important, and the security is important to some people. I get it, right? I think that's fine. But to kind of maximize that potential, right? Whether you're the potential of you personally, professionally, of a business entity, right? In this case, a team, a program. I think it'd be negligent not to look at the trends and adjust accordingly. That'd be I'm going to invest in the stock market to maximize my potential, but then not checking any of the stocks, right? And just being we'll just throw it in those ones because I like them. And not checking, direction and trends and all that good stuff. I'm not the business guy, that's you, but you get the point, right? So, for example, we'll start with the NFL, right? Aggressive wins, period. I've said this a lot on this show. Chiefs, hey, we're playoff bound every year with Alex Smith. We're winning about 11 games a year. Screw that. Let's go draft Patrick Mahomes. Okay. How about Tampa? Jameis is not very good, but at least he's throwing 5,000 yards a year, right? Good coach, decent roster. Nah, you know what? Let's mortgage the future for Tom Brady. Yeah, it kind of worked out. How about L.A.? Goff gets us to a Super Bowl, right? Nope. We'll go get Stafford, Ramsey. Let's pay Aaron Donald a little bit more. Let's go get pieces around him because we're going to go all in. And so look in college football. Same thing applies, aggressive wins. What's been the major change in college football over the last couple years? Let's go 5 years. The transfer portal. And more recently, NIL as well. And who's absolutely crushing at it? Well, the guys that are understanding it. The guys that are early to the party. The guys that are not afraid to change and adapt and constantly, get better. Like Lincoln Riley. They went from 4-8 to 11-1. They might go to the playoff. And what's standing in their way? Like Utah, which is a fine program. They don't have the talent of a USC, and they did beat them once, but that's also in Utah. On a neutral field, I'd probably take USC. I think it's close, but with Caleb Williams playing like he is now, they're probably in the playoff. How about Brian Kelly? A lot of people don't like Brian Kelly. That's fine. LSU was supposed to finish in the basement of the SEC, though. They beat Bama 9-3. I mean, they're going to go to the SEC championship. I'd say it's pretty good. Pretty good for a first year, huh? How about Jim Harbaugh? Huh? Yeah, not a lot of people like Jim Harbaugh. He's kind of embraced it, and would you look at that? I mean, not only won back-to-back, the games. He's only won the game in back-to-back years, but he's dominated the game in back-to-back years. And here's what's absolutely insane. A Heisman finalist, running back Blake Corum, wasn't even on the field. Wasn't even on the field for the majority of that football game. He had like 6 yards rushing. He's going to be a Heisman finalist. He's the best back in the nation right now. Arguably, I still take Izzy Abanikanda, but that's besides the point. Blake Corum's a fantastic back. Did with a redshirt freshman quarterback who against Illinois looked bad. And you said, we're going to really push the ball downfield. JJ, go sling the rock around. Yeah, that's a good coach. He's a good coach, and he's kind of getting the transfer portal and is understanding NIL and that this game and recruiting, for lack of a better term. What about clout and imaging and not just, hey, I'm Nick Saban, you can just come to my school and tradition and fight and passion. It's kind of about the flash when you're trying to get the 5 stars, right? I mean, look around. Everyone is losing guys to the transfer portal. Harbaugh lost 12 people. They're all backups. They're all maybe at best a rotational player. At best. He's added 3 former 5 stars through the portal. He's been really, really open with NIL. And here's what's really impressive. Try recruiting. So we all know there's hotbeds, right? Florida is a really good hotbed. California, Texas. Pennsylvania's kind of up there, which is weird. It's one of the only really cold weather areas that's kind of a hotbed for recruiting. Try going to recruit a California kid to snowy, rainy Michigan to play in the snowy, rainy Big Ten, rather than him going to, UCLA or, you could go to USC, which now I guess would be a good call, but in past years it hasn't been. Or hey, from Florida, why don't you, instead of going to Florida, come up here and play for me? Right? It's a brutal task. No, he's done really, really well out of state. Of course he has. He's just smart. He's a good coach. People who are slow to change will ultimately be left behind. That's it. That's period. That just is what it is. I mean, look at Jimbo Fisher. So I know he's been quick to the NIL thing, but my God, he's still trying to run the same schemes that worked with Jameis Winston. Right? Call it, adapt, train, change. That's why Jimbo's 5-7. Right? I don't make the rules. I just analyze the trends through the lens of sports. Sport tells you a lot about what's going on in culture. It's right here in front of your eyes. Look at the trend. Here's the trend. Jim Harbaugh in Michigan, they're here to stay. And I think other college coaches have started to learn something from him, and more of them should start to learn a thing or two, right? Go look at Lincoln. Go look at Jim Harbaugh. Go look at Brian Kelly, right? You might not love him. Go look at him. It's called being successful, right? Pivot, move, adapt. They're doing it better than anybody, and I think Jim Harbaugh's been absolutely masterful the last couple years at Michigan. Good for them.
Well, it is kind of perfect today to have TK come on, talk about the transfer portal, somebody that's experiencing it, going through it right now, looking to move around and find the next place where he's just going to absolutely thrive and excel. So bringing him on will definitely be good to get that perspective.
I mean, what are we waiting around for, huh? Yeah, I guess without further ado, and I guess there's no better thing to talk about here on this fine Thursday than college football, and we'll just keep it rolling. Let's go ahead and get Tyler on.
All right, now with us on the issue, we have Tyler King. He was voted second team All-CAA. He is a 2-time CAA Rookie of the Week. He was a Jerry Rice Award finalist, former Stony Brook linebacker. Tyler, how you doing?
Good. Got in the portal yesterday. Been an exciting little over 24 hours now. And, excited to see where I'm going to end up and what the future has in store for me.
Right, so we were kind of talking before and just, seeing the social media, right? You got the offers. You're kind of doing the recruiting thing again, right? You've entered the portal on, Monday you said?
Yeah, Monday morning.
Like I said, you already got offers. Why did you enter the portal, and what does your next kind of month or so look like?
So this next month is going to be pretty crazy, pretty fast turnaround, especially because I'm trying to enroll next semester, learn the plays, get familiar with the team, staff, and get comfortable at my new spot. And so the reason, I need something new for real. Stony Brook, I'm very thankful. They gave me an opportunity when, because I had left Navy prep, and that didn't count as a real transfer, so I never used my one-time transfer rule. But option. That was kind of a post grad thing. It was almost like a reclassification. But for the reason for leaving, I mean, we have about 10 guys in the portal now. And, I never want to knock any of the coaches, burn any bridges. I had great meetings with, my linebacker coach and my head coach. And, they support my decision 100%. But, we weren't having the success I would have liked. I was getting a little frustrated here. And I think a fresh start is going to be great for me. Somewhere I got to, prove myself again and get my hunger back. I felt like I might have lost my hunger a little bit compared to last season. And then obviously rehab, and then I should be cleared for spring ball, and then just, show my new home like what I can do.
Right, absolutely. And you see that a lot with athletes. You need that next challenge, right? You see even professional athletes, hey, this was great in this city, but we got to go. We're going to LA. We're going big time. We're taking that next step, competing for a championship, right? So every athlete's looking for that next level. So I totally get it. If I'm a coach, right, I'm checking the portal. I'm like we talked before. Obviously, people that are looking, towards you for your expertise, they need an experienced linebacker, right? Why should I recruit you? What sets you apart? Why should I extend you an offer over the next guy?
I bring a lot of experience to the table with 20 college games played, almost 150 tackles. When coaches ask me what my strong suit of my game is, I usually say my play recognition and ability to get to the ball on the ground. And, I think I could be a leader on and off the field for, whoever team I choose.
So you said the play recognition. I'm curious, how much film do you watch?
A lot. I mean, that's a huge part. And the most satisfying thing is when you see the tell you saw on film and it checks out and they run the play you expected and you make the play. And even if that's 2-3 plays a game, because obviously offenses, they're going to switch up what they're doing, try to hide their tendencies. But even those 2-3 plays, those can change the game. And, film is a huge thing. Picking up tells on lineman stances, running back stance, even quarterback mannerisms when he's going to snap, when he hard counts, if he shows anything like that, if the quarterback looks off or not. All those things are things you got to take into consideration to really help you get an edge over your opponents.
This is going to be a weird question. Did you
Gotcha.
watch more film for the Oregon game? Because that's got to be like a once in a lifetime. You're like, dude, I'm going into Autzen Stadium, right?
I feel
Oregon.
Like you have to gear up for that one a little bit.
That's just one of those weeks where it's like, every week's important, but that one, does that not stand out a little bit more than the rest of them?
Yeah, it's funny that you bring that up because our coaches can see the hours that are logged in on film and see who's watching what and how much of it they're watching. And they last year did bring up, they were like, yeah, it was, I forget what it was. It was a couple weeks after the Oregon game last year. We had just came off a loss. And our DC mentioned, he goes, well, I mean, our film numbers were at an all-time low. But at Oregon, they were at an all-time high. He's like, we need to keep that same hunger. So, I mean, obviously, I probably did fall into that trap a little bit. And, that's something that at least I know and I can learn from for the future, that no matter what the opponent is, you got to have, the same preparation as if it's your last game. Because, I didn't think week 5 of the season was going to be my last game of the year, and it happened to be. And so you got to prepare every game like it's your last.
Right. So I played baseball in high school, right? Always loved football the most. Baseball guy, though. Smaller, right? I want no parts of running my head through somebody.
Didn't have the physical attributes.
So for me, I'm like, it just amazes me when I see like linebackers play. Like I'll see even Devin Bush, right? Who I don't even think he's good, maybe not the best, but just people that just run their head through something. Were you born with that? Were you just born with a natural just anger to just put somebody in the turf, or how's that go?
I think I might have a screw loose up top, but when you're playing the sport of football, especially linebacker, I think, that might be necessary, especially for, a guy inside the box. You're taking on dudes who are 300 plus pounds, you gotta have a screw loose and, but it's all fun though, I like the contact, and nothing's better than making a play in the backfield.
So there was a quarterback. I off the top of my head I can't remember, but they said something along the lines of like the season doesn't start till I get a hit. Right? They wanted to play in preseason because like I need to feel myself get hit. Is that for you? Like first play of the game, you're like I just need to just go smack somebody in the mouth. Then I'm like fully checked in. Is that right?
Yeah, I could definitely agree to that to some extent. especially that spring season I had and last season when, I was just getting my first really college taste at college reps. The butterflies are going, but once you get that first collision, you fit your gap the right way, you get inside your gap, you get that first tackle, that all goes away. So yeah, I definitely can agree with that statement to a certain extent.
So now you're looking ahead, possible programs that you think that you want to go ahead and join and go ahead and enroll there. So do you have a preferred scheme that you feel that like you fit in best? Is it a 3-4, 4-3? Do you like more dime looks? Do you like more nickel looks? What scheme do you think is going to maximize your talents going forward?
So here at Stony Brook, we played a 4-2-5, but it was pretty much a 4-3. We had our outside linebacker who was a rover. He was always outside the box. They considered him a DB, so that was part of the 5. I like 4-down look though. I like 4D linemen because I think a 3-down, the guards, the interior guys can get to the second level way too quick. I like a 4-down where they have to double our 3-tech or our nose to get up to the line. It gives us an extra step versus a free release to the linebacker. Because I remember in high school at Pine, we ran a 3-down front my sophomore year, and it was tough because we had a lot of linebackers, which I understood, but like it was hard because we're getting guards right up to us and like we're trying to see the ball and fit our gap, and there's linemen that are already climbing to us. So I definitely prefer the 4-down. I mean, that's not going to be a deciding factor, obviously, but definitely a preference of mine.
I guess I get that because especially someone like you that kind of thrives on that speed and that downhill nature to your game, right? You kind of you don't want anything holding you back. You don't want anyone coming at you. You want to attack. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, without a doubt.
Okay, couple funny questions now. What's your go-to pregame song?
Honestly, pregame, for some reason, I never really listened to him that much outside of it, but T Grizzly Activated.
T Grizzly,
for some reason,
yeah.
The beats T Grizzly has get me going.
Right.
They make me want to hit somebody. So I got to give it to T Grizzly. Song Activated, but really anything by T Grizzly.
Okay, now what's the best locker room you've ever been in?
Took a couple unofficials to Pittsburgh. Theirs is pretty sweet.
Right.
I haven't really visited too many Power 5 schools. Obviously, that's where you're gonna find the best, facilities and locker rooms.
Like what was Oregon's pretty nice?
Actually, they had the worst away locker room I've ever seen.
Really?
It was a peanut, bro. We were crammed in. 2 people in a locker, it was a mess.
2 people
bro.
to a locker.
2 people in a locker works in middle school, not
yeah.
And it was dude. It was like the high school away locker room. Like it was small.
Geez.
It was super small, bro. We had 60 players, 20 coaches, trainers. Like it was a mess, dude.
Dang.
And it was raining during pregame, so like
that's gotta be awful.
No one was gonna. You know how usually pregame you have some guys on the field stretching, doing whatever. Everyone's crammed in. No one's trying to get wet before this game.
Oh.
And yeah, that was when I saw that. It was shocking, honestly. But I'm sure their home locker room is
it's
top notch,
right?
Yeah, without a doubt. But from what I've seen, Pitt locker room was really nice. They had a nice cushion, like big lockers, and this was pretty cool. But hopefully over these next few weeks, I'll get to visit some places that have some pretty cool facilities as well.
That's actually what I was going to ask you to finish it off. I said, when are you going to come back home, play for the home Pittsburgh Panthers? Come on, get on the phone with Pat. I'll give Pat a call.
We'll try to pull some strings.
I'll call Narjuz. I'm saying, look, you got to get my boy Tyler. He's your guy. He's your guy.
Yeah, so I mean, I've had some indirect contact with them. Apparently, they are going to reach out, but a lot of those FBS teams are still playing football right now. They're not fully focused on the portal. Like maybe they're recruiting people are, but if none of the positional coaches are really, they're focused on winning their last game or 2 right now. So, I mean, that would be a great opportunity for me to come down and play for my hometown.
Pretty sweet.
No contact with them directly yet, but apparently they are supposed to reach out, according to a couple people I talked to.
I got you, man. Well, Tyler, I really appreciate you coming on. I was getting to pick your brain a little bit. I really hope you find somewhere that that you're happy with, that you get to play, and that it'll hopefully give you some exposure, give you some looks. Because I think you could be playing on Sunday, but I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
No,
I don't think I am. But I don't think I am. But just find somewhere that you can keep climbing, man.
For sure, appreciate that, man. Nice talking to you guys.
Yeah, absolutely, buddy. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Second segment on a Thursday. What's the 1st of December?
Yeah.
It's officially Christmas season. I will be watching Elf later tonight because that's just what I do. After football, of course. We have, Bills at Patriots tonight, starting off week 13.
It'll be a good one.
Starting off this segment here, we'll have hits and misses. Then we'll kind of review some of the games from this past week, week 12. Obviously, predict for week 13, and bets on a budget will be in the third segment. Just finished up talking to Tyler King.
Yeah, how great was that interview?
Fantastic. And if you're watching the full episode right now and you want to go back and just watch that interview, we will have that posted as well as just a standalone for you guys to watch, just to reference that.
It'll be on our website too,
yeah,
so
website,
it'll be featured on there.
YouTube.
You can find it anywhere.
Yeah, you'll see clips of it on social media, so you'll be able to find it in a lot of different places.
Yeah, we'll have it very accessible. It was fantastic. I think we got 11, 12 minutes with him, so that was really good.
Usually lose track of time.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you have someone like that has so much experience playing at the level and within the sport. But we have hits and misses like normal to get to first in this second segment, so let's start with that.
So hit number one, I've been a really huge fan of guys that are uber talented, right? Like Justin Herbert's one of my favorite quarterbacks in the game. I think he's he's top 5 right now. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is quite top 5, but I think he's one of the most talented quarterbacks in the game when it comes to arm, size, mobility. I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. I think he's just still developing.
Yeah.
I think he will eventually be a top 6 to 7 quarterback with potential to be top 3 or 4. I think he's that talented, and I've been a really big fan of those guys, especially because Herbert is really good when it counts, right? Fourth quarter drives, one of the better fourth quarter pass ratings. Against Mahomes, and of course this week, yet again, a fourth quarter, down a touchdown, needs a 2-point conversion. When it counts, he's got it. And I'm happy to welcome Trevor Lawrence to that group of guys who also ball out when it matters. A good day for 2 of my favorite quarterbacks.
Yeah, it was really Trevor impressed me a lot this week.
I will say that throw on the 2-point conversion was fantastic.
That was really good. That was
fantastic.
A really good read.
That out route. First of all, Baltimore had I think it might have been a backup DB in there, and you could see him before the snap. He's looking, finds the backup DB, did not take his eyes off. I want to say was it Christian Kirk on that catch, or maybe it was Marvin Jones again. Either way, just throws a strike.
And Baltimore's no joke of a defense.
No, Baltimore's no joke. Yeah, no. I mean, their secondary's been beat up, but overall, it has talent. Marlon Humphrey, Marcus Peters, it has talent.
I was happy to see Jacksonville take those steps and Trevor Lawrence take those steps.
Yeah.
But I have the Baltimore Ravens defense, and I was starting them. I was against Jacksonville, easy points this week. Not the case. Not the case.
I would advise you to drop their defense and get somebody else.
I got Tennessee on the bench. I think I'm going to throw them in.
Yeah. Miss number one. I've always said that I don't think Aaron Rodgers is a super likable guy. I don't think he's really good in the fourth quarter. I don't think he's good when it counts. Just kind of like how Herbert is when it counts. I don't think Aaron's that guy. I don't think he's good in the playoffs, fourth quarters, all that. But I will say, he showed a lot of fight in that game. Down 13, throws a couple picks on the road. He's hurt. Goes out. I thought he played really well. Played really well given the circumstance that he was in until he had to leave the game. I think it showed a lot of heart, a lot of fight on his part that I didn't really know he had that level of, right?
Yeah.
I think throwing with a broken thumb, at that point having, broken ribs, threw a couple passes with broken ribs. Kudos to him. I did not expect that out of him.
Look, the people that are complaining about wobbly footballs coming from him, okay,
his
I
ligament
want you to go outside and then throw the football around, and after you just stove your thumb, pick it up and try to throw it. Yeah. Let alone break anything and have a thumb injury like that. So yeah, he's going to look a little bit off. He looked fine. He fought through it pretty well. So I don't know. Overall, I was impressed.
Yeah, like I said, I don't love Aaron. I think he's a little overrated. Not my favorite guy, but I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
Hit number two. I think I've said that the Niners are a damn good football team, and one of the main reasons is because they can beat you so many different ways and from so many different angles, right? They can run the ball just down your throat all day, or they can kind of sling the ball around a little bit. They have playmakers on the outside. They can have their defense get a win for you, and we just saw that this weekend. Their offense didn't really look fantastic, but just, again, a really, really solid defensive performance. Just dominating, really.
Yeah, I agree.
Throwing a shutout, if you will, against the Saints. So good for them.
First time that's happened since pre-Drew Brees era, by the way. Yes,
wow.
The Saints have not been shut out since 2004,
So,
I think.
Yeah, I saw a thing. It was on like Bleacher Report or ESPN or something like that on Instagram. It was like, sum up the Saints season in one word, and I said, like, predictable? Like, Jameis Winston and Andy Dalton were your quarterbacks. Like, is this not Michael Thomas isn't playing? You lost C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
You don't have
on
any
the back
flash.
end.
You don't have anything flashy about that team.
There's no sizzle. There's no. I mean, Kamara's okay, but I mean that's.
Well, the thing when I watch the Saints compared to the top teams in the league, there's no threat of here comes a big play for 40 to 60 yards.
I think that's also a problem with Pittsburgh. I feel the same way with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I feel the same way with Pittsburgh, but I mean, especially with the Saints right now, they don't have anybody that can get it going. I mean, at least Pittsburgh has a George Pickens, and they have a couple playmakers, and they have Najee that can break it sometimes. But
yeah, so I mean,
nothing in New Orleans.
But I think overall, I do think the Niners are probably the team to beat in the NFC for me.
Yes.
Miss number 2 here. I thought the Ravens would come back kind of with a vengeance, right, and really assert their dominance after like a good draft, good free agency. I thought they acquired a lot of good talent, especially Kyle Hamilton, Tyler Linderbaum, and somehow what they should be really, really good at, they're awful at. They should be able to run the ball late in games and ice the game away with a lead.
And that's been their identity.
That's been what they should be good as a running football team with a running identity and a running quarterback. You should be able to ice games with relative ease.
And especially Lamar, is it just me or has he looked like not as shifty these last couple of weeks? He's been getting wrapped up a lot. He's been getting sacked a lot, stuck in the pocket, can't move anything around. I mean, it's just you wait for him to bounce back to that MVP status that he once had and that everybody keeps saying he's going to get back to. But I just don't see it. Like, you see it for a couple weeks here and there.
Right.
He'll look really good. And then he just looks like he forgets how to move in the pocket sometimes. I'm like, that's what you do well. You should be doing this week in and week out.
I think a major problem is I don't think the line's getting enough push up front. I don't think there's a run game enough outside of Lamar. What Lamar provides, I don't think there's another component to their running game that they can really lean on consistently.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem. And then when you can't do that consistently, it's really hard to throw to lackluster weapons consistently as well. So there's just...
He did have that nice throw.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
And he has gotten better at throwing, and I still think he's a top 10 quarterback, especially when you look at it that he wins almost 80% of his games. I just think that there are some holes to his game that can lead to some issues, especially when it comes to consistency in a 17-game season. All right, hit number 3, get another winning week of bets. That's 3 straight bets that we actually put out, right? So when we took that 2-week hiatus, we also took a betting hiatus, but 1 week before that, last week and this week have all hit. That's 3 straight weeks of plus 500 betting. We went 3-2 last week. The Steelers money line hit, Amon-Ra St. Brown anytime touchdown hit, and the Giants plus 9.5. So a dog and then 2 plus money bets. Amon-Ra was plus 125. Those were plus, I think, 122. So 3 good bets. Good week for the issue.
It feels good. It feels good to get back on the winning ways a little bit because, I mean, we were spiraling there.
We were spiraling. We're almost back to 500. We're a game under. Wait, no. Through 12 weeks, I think we're 5-7, I want to say. Yeah. So, hey, we're getting there. We're getting there. We can finish 10-7 if we keep winning every week. But
I like that.
I do like our odds to finish above 500. Miss number 3 here. Luke, once again.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's just roll right into that. Yeah.
Puts his faith in Russ and the Broncos, and of course it backfired. Why wouldn't it backfire? So why don't you walk us through that? How's it feel?
Not good.
4-8 on the season.
It still feels not good. I have to win out.
You officially have to win out.
I officially have to win out. You can lock it up with a win this week. So, I mean, bets this week, I'm going to be sweating a little bit.
I feel good about the splits.
Obviously the odds do not favor winning the next 5 consecutive weeks, but we're going to try to do what we can.
You got to soldier on.
It's at least get some garbage time wins maybe.
Make it more respectable.
We're going to play it till the end.
Absolutely.
Even if I get mathematically eliminated, we're playing it to the end.
You're not not playing for a better draft pick or anything like that? You're not going to tank?
No, we're not tanking.
All right.
We're going to try to rally the troops a little bit. But
fair enough. Keep morale high in the locker room. So, I guess that was hits and misses on this fine Thursday before Thursday Night Football. Like I said, Bills and Patriots. So let's go ahead and review some of the games that we did see last week. And actually, let's start with the Bills. And let's start with that the Thanksgiving Day games to start out here. So the Bills lines. The only reason I want to talk about it because I think it's important for the outlook of the season. I think Josh Allen's starting to get a little bit of mojo back. And here's the thing: they're actually starting to run the ball a little bit more now. Are they putting up major production on the ground? Not really, not yet. But they're at least committed to the run to kind of take a little bit of the burden off Josh Allen. We saw that when they played the Browns as well, also in Detroit because the whole snowstorm thing. But we saw that too, where they just committed to running the football more, whether it had a lot of great outcomes or not, because it's going to open up so much on the back end for Josh that you're going to make up for what you're not going to get in the running game just by being more balanced.
And you have to start to alleviate some of that pressure that's on Josh Allen at some point. You can't just I mean, for 17 games out of the season, you can't do that. You can't rely on him for every single one. You're going to have to find a way to supplement that somehow. And at least they're starting to move in that direction. Yeah, I saw some of that.
Right. And so the thing with Josh is, the stats might not have been crazy, right? He only completed about 57% of his throws. He had 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, like an 81 QBR. Again, like we talked about with Herbert and Lawrence, right? When it counted, though, throwing seeds down the field. I mean, really looking good when he needed to in the fourth quarter. So, let's talk a little bit about that Justin Herbert and Cardinals game. Again, I think this is important because what do you do if you're the Cardinals? So you're 4-8. Yeah. There's been turbulence with your front office and your quarterback, and your coach and your quarterback. We're not really convinced if you even have the right coach. I think you have the right quarterback.
I'm not convinced you have the right quarterback.
So
I mean, what has
I wouldn't say I'm fully convinced.
What has Kyler done to prove to you, though, that he can be the franchise guy? I mean, he's shown so much inconsistency up until this point. I mean, some days he looks like the shiftiest guy in the league, and nobody can tackle him, and nobody can contain him, and he's running, and he's controlling the game and doing whatever Kyler wants to do. But then there's other games where he just is a non-factor. It does nothing.
No, I get it, right? Here's my argument for Kyler, and I could see both arguments. Like either we can't really move off Kyler now that you signed him, but I can see your argument for or against Kyler. Here's the argument I would say for him is that he's talented enough that any given Sunday you have a shot. You drive to the stadium, you can build your team knowing that any given Sunday Kyler can lead you to a victory. But now, does he do it enough? Probably not, but he's any given Sunday significantly more talented than the guy across the sideline.
Sure, but is Kyler the guy that can lead your team to a playoff run and then eventually to a Super Bowl? Because, I mean, look, the standards in Arizona are a little bit higher than just, having a shot in every game you're in.
Guess.
I mean, they're trying to win Super Bowls. I don't think he's the guy that's going to win Super Bowls for them.
I mean I'm not telling you you're crazy. Yeah. If I asked you today you had to move off either the coach or the quarterback in Arizona,
I would say coach first.
Okay, right, coach first. And I think Kyler at this point has earned a second coach.
Yes.
I think Kyler's earned a second coach, and so he
and coach is way easier. Coach is way easier to replace than a quarterback.
Yeah. Which is crazy because 70% of coaches still don't hit to begin with.
Yes,
but that's still a better percentage.
Finding a quarterback that has the skill set of a Kyler, yes, that's rare. He just has to start using it consistently.
Right, so I would say give Kyler another coach. I don't know, that's not a fun spot to be in.
There's a lot of question marks.
I would say the spot with coach quarterback duo that is least favorable and somehow even less favorable than Arizona would be the Broncos.
Yeah.
I mean, so what do you do, right? Which I think absolutely you can't cut Russ. I don't think that's even on the table. But as a thought exercise and to just kind of put into perspective how kind of restrained Denver now is going forward contractually, right? If they cut him,
they're in some
next year. It'd be like a $73 million dead cap hit. The year after would be like a $103 million dead cap hit that you'd be paying Russell Wilson not to play for your team.
You're stuck. They are completely stuck.
With Russ, at least. There's almost no way, unless it's a trade, which there's no way
somebody
would
absorb that? Because nobody's going to absorb that dead cap.
There's no way.
And to make matters worse, I think Nathaniel Hackett is up there for the worst coach in the league this year. I mean, I feel like at the end of the season we should kind of do like best and worst, a little bit of a rankings thing. And
sure,
right
we'll
now,
top five, bottom
if we're doing that, he's dead last. He has cemented himself dead last.
I mean, so yeah, here we got some time. We're kind of just shooting the blank for those whatever. Anyway, so thought exercise. Just run through the teams, right? So Stefanski. I think I'd take Stefanski over Hackett.
100%.
Harbaugh, not even a question.
Yep.
Tomlin, not even a question. I don't even think Zach Taylor's a question. He's been to a Super Bowl.
Nope. I'll take Zach Taylor.
Okay. Vrabel, no. Lovie Smith, you have an argument, but he's been around so long. His experience, I'd probably take him over Hackett.
Yeah.
Doug Peterson, absolutely.
Todd Bowles.
Todd Bowles, absolutely. I was kind of going by division here. I guess Jeff Saturday, but
yeah.
we won't even count him right now.
I haven't seen enough from Jeff Saturday.
Right. Mike McDaniel, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sean McDermott, yep. Belichick, yep.
Yep.
Saleh, yep.
Yep.
Okay. Now in his own division, Josh McDaniels.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I'll take that.
He's at least shown flashes, and you can kind of see his impact.
Yep.
Josh Jacobs has gotten significantly better with their schemes. Derek Carr still looks pretty good. Devontae Adams is fitting in seamlessly. It's their defense that's a problem. He's an offensive guy.
Yeah.
Andy Reid, obviously. Brandon Staley, I would still take him. I don't love him, but I'd still take him over
I would take him
Hackett.
way over Hackett, yeah.
LaFleur, O'Connell.
Literally almost
Dan
everybody.
Campbell.
Literally almost everybody.
I'd still take Todd Bowles over him.
Yeah.
100%.
I think so.
Marcus Allen, the guy in New Orleans, debatable. He's defensive, so I might lean Hackett, but also Hackett still
Hackett
sucks
hasn't
really
been
bad.
Yeah, he's offensive
awful.
leaning.
He's awful.
But he can't put together
He's
an offense that
awful.
scores points.
He's awful.
So
he's terrible.
Yeah.
No, he is the worst coach. We're going to cement that. He's the worst
think
coach
so.
in the league. All right. Kind of just went in there on Nathaniel Hackett.
yeah.
All right, let's go Ravens and Jags. So we kind of touched on this a little bit, that Trevor Lawrence is a stud. But that's now the Ravens' fourth loss, and all four losses have come when they've led by 10 or more points.
Mm-hmm.
10 or more.
So
And three of them have been 10 or more in the fourth quarter.
Let's not forget, for a while, people were saying, oh, well, Lamar Jackson doesn't know how to play from behind. Well, now it looks like Lamar Jackson doesn't know how to play with a lead. I mean, it's just...
So, I mean, what do you do? Like,
You get some more offensive weapons for him to throw to.
Right. You're not going to make any
to-
drastic changes.
Look, because they are way too one-dimensional. After watching them, they can't do anything except run the football, and if they can get something play action with Lamar, that's about it.
Dude, I mean, his top target was a guy named Josh Oliver, who has 11 catches for 130 yards all season. He's their third-string tight end.
Yeah.
I think you do need, you need to give him more pieces, but do you need to make a sweeping move anywhere, a coach or quarterback? I don't think so.
No, nothing crazy. You have one of the best coaches in the league, and you have a top talent in the league at quarterback. He's just not playing at it currently. I don't know what the problem is. I don't know if he has an injury that he's been playing through. He's just not looking the same. I think you definitely have the coach. You definitely have nothing crazy. But you need to go make some trades for. I guess you can't trade, but you need to go get offensive pieces ASAP.
And it might not even be this year, but going forward with Lamar's contract negotiation, how bad do you think it hurts it? You think this lack of able to seize games when you have it right there?
You're
in front of
crazy
you?
if you don't think it hurts it in some way, because he was playing this year for
his
big
contract.
He
right.
knew it. Everybody knew it. He's
betting on
playing
himself,
this year for that big contract. And right now I wouldn't pay him. Right now, today, would you pay Lamar?
Depends what
with
the
how he
number is.
looks?
Depends what the number is.
He
wants fully guaranteed, so no.
If he asks to be fully guaranteed, top 5 money, you pay him.
I think even if he's playing at MVP level right now, I wouldn't pay him fully guaranteed money.
I agree.
No. All right. Let's talk about that Steelers-Colts game. So
that was
really good first half from the Steelers. This is the second straight week now. They've had a really nice offensive first half.
Yeah.
But it's also the second straight week where we've kind of turned on a dime in the second half and looked pretty poor.
Mm-hmm.
Good news is, again, when it mattered most, they had to have it. They had it. Kenny Pickett with numerous really, really nice throws. Really nice throws on that last drive. On that last drive, that was impressive.
And those are the kind of drives you need though as a rookie.
On the road, primetime, rookie.
And I know the Colts aren't great, but still.
Their defense isn't bad at all, though.
You go on the road, you get a win in the NFL. It's something to talk about.
So did you know he was actually graded out as the number 1 quarterback by Pro Football Focus this week?
Really?
Yeah, according to throws, accuracy, timing, ball placement to help with yards after the catch. They take all factors into consideration. And he was an 87 or an 88, which was the number 1 quarterback of Week 12.
Look, I know it's a little bit early still, I guess. I guess it's not. It might be reasonable to bring it up. I mean, we've talked about it with all these other teams. Is it time to make a coaching or quarterback switch in Pittsburgh? Do they need to make a sweeping change?
No. Well, Canada, yes. Head coach, quarterback, no. You're certainly not going to change.
I mean, you
Kenny
brought
now.
up and you're not going to change Tomlin now.
Well,
but
yeah. I mean, after the season,
there have
here's
been
the
some
thing.
interesting points that we brought up on this show. You came to the conclusion with look. We've had 4 coordinators, and we've had the same problem. So is it a Tomlin problem?
I don't think it's a Tomlin problem, and I think depending on where you end up in the draft, which won't be high enough to probably get one of the top quarterbacks, I think you stick with Pickett. But I've also been back and forth that you move off him. I don't really know what you do. But nonetheless, it was good to see him get a win on the road, rookie. All right, so let's go. I guess that kind of wraps up this segment. Let's start our predictions in the third segment here, and then we'll do our bets on a budget, so don't go anywhere. Make sure you come back for the third segment.
What's up? We are back. It is the third segment here on Thursday, December 1st. We are into December, and we have more predictions to get to you. So week 13 is coming up now. We're getting deep into the NFL season, and to that point where really anyone can win any week, and not much surprises me anymore.
Except for you.
What?
Anybody but you can win.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I can't win. I can't catch a win for anything right now. But another week of predictions. I'm going to try again.
He's looking, yo, what?
I need to get a win. I'm down 4 games. If I don't win this week, it's over for me and my chances.
I feel good. There's 5 splits this week.
Yeah, we disagreed on a lot. It doesn't usually happen. Last week we had 1 split, and it ended up screwing me because I just
We got 5,
with
so it gives
Broncos
you more of
country,
a chance.
and nobody is riding with Broncos country anymore. Broncos country. It is absolutely horrific what they have going.
Nobody's on that train anymore.
Nathaniel Hackett and
Gone.
Russell Wilson are
Should be
absolute
gone.
train wrecks, but
Hackett should be gone.
Either way, let's go. Week 13 predictions. Here it is.
Let's start with the Thursday night game, of course, tonight. Let's go with the Bills at the Patriots. We're both going to take the Bills here. Too much firepower. I mean, Josh Allen, when's the last time he punted against Bill Belichick? I mean, it's been a while, right? He has been able to figure out that defense, figure out how to beat Bill, and it's been really, really successful for them. Whether that's, I'm curious without Dable how it goes, but I mean, without the talent on offense, even if they're somehow able to limit Josh Allen, can they even keep up? Even on Josh Allen's, say, B- game, can Mac Jones keep up with that? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Josh Allen is one of the few quarterbacks that has been able to figure out a Bill Belichick defense, and he's given Bill fits.
Yeah.
And I think this is no different. I mean, especially when the teams are, when there's this much of a gap in talent between the two.
All right, here we have 4 splits in a row. Okay, let's get into it. So, Packers at the Bears. You're going to go ahead and lean Packers. I'll go ahead and take the Bears on this one. So the Bears are at home, first of all. And I think Justin Fields should be back and should be healthy. Right? So he won't be banged up. He'll be fresh. He'll be ready to go. And also, I don't know what I'm getting from the quarterback position with Green Bay. Am I going to get Jordan Love? Because what I've seen so far hasn't been very good, although he did look good coming in Philly. But from a whole sample size, I don't think he's looked very good as a starter. And I don't know if Rodgers plays. Am I getting broken ribs? The thumb's still going to be an issue. Are the ribs broken? What's the mobility like? Can we push the ball downfield? Because if not, I'll take the Bears all day.
Yeah. For me, it's just more so that Green Bay owns Chicago. Like, they literally have, they're like a 65% owner in that
They might as well be.
organization.
They might as well be.
They absolutely roll Chicago every time. I don't think this is, I mean, look, I know there's a lot of speculation around Green Bay now and Aaron and all that. I can't come on here and say that the Bears are going to beat the Packers. And when the Packers go out there and win, I would feel like an absolute moron. So I'm not doing it.
Fair. All right, Titans traveling to Philadelphia. I'm going to go ahead and call the upset here. I will take the Titans in a close one by about a field goal. First of all, I like Nick Sirianni, but I do think Vrabel's a better coach. I think Vrabel's a better coach. I think Hurts is a more productive player than Tannehill. I don't know if I'd say he's a better quarterback than Tannehill. And I think they can match the physicality that Philadelphia brings. And a lot of teams don't, and that's kind of what separates them, right? Like, you can see Green Bay was just not up to the task physically. I mean, they gave up 350 yards rushing.
Yeah.
But that's just not something that Tennessee's going to do. So I'll take Tennessee. I don't feel great about it. I don't. But I
like Philadelphia.
I'll take them. I think they're a good team, and they're built to beat Philly. Philly can out-possession you. I think so can Tennessee. And if you can flip that game on Philly, I think that's going to be tough.
I think this game is almost 50-50, so it can really go either way. I just like Philly and the weapons. And
they have more talent for sure.
They just have more offensive firepower to play with. And I see them. I don't see the Texans putting up much of an air attack. I see them running the ball a lot.
Titans?
The Titans.
The Texans definitely aren't putting up any sort of attack.
My bad. I meant Titans. Either way.
I get what you mean, though. They're still not putting up yet. Right. That's fair. I mean, they did lose A.J. Brown, right? I get it. All right, let's go Commanders at the Giants. I'm going to roll with the Giants. First of all, I think they're a well-coached football team. I like Brian Dable a lot. And, a couple tough losses recently. And I think when faced with adversity, I think good coaches and I don't even want to call them a good team, but decent teams can kind of find a way. Here's what I will say. This is the game where you'll know if the Giants have a shot this year or not. If they lose this game, I think it's over for them. If they lose this game, I think it's over. Even though they're only at 7-5, it's just look. This is you're backed into a corner. You've lost 2 straight. You're slipping in the standings. You're not playing as well as you want to. Everyone's kind of New York media is getting on you a little bit. Can you go out and win a home game versus Taylor Heineke? If you can't, that's a problem. Backed into a corner, you should be able to win a home game versus Taylor Heineke. I get it. The Commanders are a good football team right now.
I like the Commanders.
But I just think this is what tells you what Dable and the Giants are made of, and I do kind of like what he is made of, so I'll roll with Dable.
Okay. I mean Commanders just because of the defense.
Yeah,
I don't see New York moving the ball all that much. And I don't think it changes. It's kind of the theme we've seen over the last 2 weeks, 3-ish now. So I think it kind of stays that way against a really good defensive front, really good linebacker play, and they at least do enough where the secondary doesn't have to cover for 6-7 seconds on some plays.
Right.
So I like the Commanders in this one.
All right, let's go with the Lions at the Jags. Jags, maybe a little bit of an over-adjustment in Vegas to a really nice fourth quarter, but overall I don't think they're this good of a football team. They're favored by 1.5 in Detroit, so I'm going to go ahead and take Detroit here. You'll see in bets later. I also like Detroit by the spread, but I'll take them outright to win as well. I think at home they've been a really nice football team. I think Jared Goff inside a dome. At home he's comfortable. I think he's going to be a pretty effective quarterback. I don't love the secondary in Jacksonville, so I think Goff's going to have a good day. Jamal Williams and Swift will control the ground game. I like them to win by about a field goal.
Okay, I like the Jags here for the pure reason that they're starting to put things together, and we know what can come from that later on in the season when we see that from mediocre teams.
The momentum building a little bit.
So we saw it. I'm not saying it's going to be a Cincinnati run when Cincinnati went to the Super Bowl after kind of getting off to a slow start, but I could definitely see some harder fought games towards the end. They're starting to figure some things out. Trevor Lawrence looks good. So I like the Jags here.
That's fair. Let's go with the Broncos and the Ravens. We can both agree we're going with the Ravens. We're both selling our Broncos stock. It's sold. It's gone.
Yeah. I'm not betting Denver anymore until they show me something. It's going to take. It's too far into the season. I would need a larger sample size of success to even bet.
Yeah, it's over. All right, Steelers at the Falcons. I've been back and forth on this one.
I was back and forth on
Steelers
this.
are favored by a half point. I'll take Atlanta at home because I think they can run the football. And I do worry about the Steelers' defense against the run.
It's the linebackers, and especially
the linebackers aren't very good
on short rest too.
Right.
So you don't have stopping a fully rested, running game in Atlanta is going to be a tough task if you're the Steelers here.
This is just one of those games that feels like the Steelers are this is just the type of game they lose. You know what I mean? Being a Steelers fan for so long, you can kind of just...
You can predict it when it's coming.
You
walk outside.
You can
feel
the wind.
You know the people that have gotten metal put in them for some sort of surgery, and they're like, oh, when I walk outside, I can tell if it's going to rain. That's how it is about the Steelers here 100%. With this. I'm going Atlanta all day.
Yeah. Let's go with the Jets at the Vikings. We'll both take the Vikings here. Look, Mike White's a great story. I think he might be a better quarterback than Zach Wilson. I don't think by any stretch of the imagination Mike White is a good NFL quarterback. I think going on the road to Kirk Cousins is a tall order for that Jets team. I'll take the Vikings by a touchdown.
Yeah, I like the Vikings. They've been really good all year.
And they get pretty long rest. They played on Thanksgiving. Yeah. The Jets played in a rainy Sunday game, so more rest for the Vikings at home. Yeah. Browns at the Texans. That's going to take the Browns. They get Deshaun back. Look, I do think he will be rusty, but is he really going to be rusty enough for the Texans to beat him? I don't think so.
I
That's
don't
the thing. You
think
gotta
so.
be really
It's-
bad.
Yeah, it would have to take a pretty hard nosedive to lose that.
Who did the Texans even beat this year?
Nobody.
Now
can.
I'm curious. Now I have to know.
What's their record?
1-9-1.
1-9-1. That's right.
I know they tied the Colts. I gotta know who they actually beat. Let's see here. Oh, they beat the Jags.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Bad beating bad.
Yeah, I mean that makes 100% sense.
Yeah.
Look, I think Deshaun, I do think he will be rusty, but I really don't think it's going to affect it that much. Kyle Allen is starting on the other side of the field. Like, come
the
on.
overall roster in Cleveland, I think, is good enough to beat the Texans. I think even if they didn't start a quarterback, they could run the Wildcat. They could run a flea flicker every time with a different dude.
That's
I
fair.
don't think it matters. I like Cleveland over them.
All right, Seahawks over the Rams. We'll both take the Seahawks here. Rams are just flat out bad, and I don't know if Stafford's going to play or if it's going to be the guy from Virginia, Perkins, I think is his name.
We were asking what the Rams were last show. We couldn't come up with it.
Bad. There's your answer. Bad.
Yeah.
They're just not good. Seattle wins convincingly. Dolphins at the Niners. We'll both take the Niners here. It's kind of like Kyle Shanahan Jr. versus Kyle Shanahan, and we know how coaches returning to face, like, I guess, their mentor, where they had their last job at, doesn't generally lead to a whole lot of success when it comes out to, percentages of time that they actually win the game. So I'll take Shanahan and the Niners. I think it'll be close. I think they're both going to try to run the football. I'm sure Tua and Tyreek will be explosive, but I think at the end of the day, the Niners defense probably gets one more stop than the Dolphins.
Yeah.
I'll go with the Niners.
I like the Niners too.
Chiefs at Bengals. We'll both take the Chiefs. It is close though. I think the Bengals. That's a unique challenge for them because Burrow against that secondary.
And they've won these type of games in the past.
Yeah, they beat them last year twice towards the end of the year.
Without Jamar Chase though, I don't like it.
Yeah, it is. That's a concern, and we don't know the health of Mixon either. He was out last week. We'll see how healthy he is coming back. Chargers at the Raiders. We'll both take the Chargers. Herbert over Carr. That's about all I'm deciding.
And the Raiders have lived at the bottom of the division all year, and they're not
Just like we said.
Yeah, they're not going to make a climb. They've kind of put themselves there. They're there to stay. They're an extended stay.
Colts at the Cowboys. We're both going to take the Cowboys by a lot, by the way. By a lot.
Yeah, the Cowboys are going to absolutely rip them apart, especially up in the trenches. Oh,
I looked at these bets yesterday, and already the line we have it at 9.5. It's already been bet up to 11.5 in the Cowboys' favor.
That's a
Thank God we got
line.
it at 9.5. So I'm going to give you the line I got it at because that's the bet I have.
Yeah.
But that's insane. We'll both take the Cowboys though. All right, Buccaneers at the Saints. Last one that we're split on. You'll take the Bucs at home. The Saints always dominate Brady. I'm just going to roll with that trend. I don't know. It burned me the first time they met this year, but
I can't.
hoping my Saints come in huge for me.
I don't think the Saints are doing anything right now. We talked about it a little bit earlier.
That's fair.
I just don't see this as a game where they beat Tom Brady in the late season. He gets dangerous in the late season and playoffs.
Yeah, I didn't think Jacoby Brissett would beat Tom Brady either, but here we are.
Yeah,
so, I mean
sometimes crazy things happen.
hey, if Jacoby Brissett can beat him, why can't the Red Rocket, huh? Why can't the Red Water Pistol, Andy Dalton, do it?
The Red Water Pistol, Andy Dalton. I like that.
I think he can do it.
That should be on a T-shirt.
I think he can do it. All right, so that concludes our predictions for Week 13. Let's go ahead and get into our 5 bets on a budget, Week 13 of the NFL. Let's actually start with tonight. So let's start it off with perhaps my favorite bet on the board. It's close. Buffalo minus 3.5 at New England. I think Buffalo, first of all, is a significantly better roster.
Yeah.
A little bit healthier in the trenches, which I like. And also, Josh Allen was really good against Belichick. Like, really good over the last 3 to 4 meetings.
He's like one of the only quarterbacks that has found a way to beat him consistently.
The last 2 meetings of Buffalo and New England last year, so towards the end of the year in Foxborough and then in the playoffs, Josh Allen only punted, I think, 1 time. So you tell me, right? Josh has figured out a way to play New England and be successful.
And the stats back it up.
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
are there.
I think they win by about a touchdown, maybe even more than that.
I like that, yeah.
All right, let's go with Dallas. Like I said, I got them at minus 9.5.
Which is a steal. If you can find that, jump all over it.
Right, because I think it's moved up to 11.5, which I'd still probably take. I don't usually love big favorites, but you saw Indianapolis on display on Monday. That's what they are as a team.
Yeah.
They're not really explosive on offense. Matt Ryan will have his moments, but overall he's not that good of a quarterback. And their defense is okay, but I mean, Kenny Pickett also looked really, really good against that secondary.
Right.
So
It's hard to tell if that was Kenny or if their team was that bad. I think it was probably a little bit of both.
a little bit of both, yeah.
So I wouldn't, jump on them to cover anything.
Yeah, here's the issue that I see with this game is that Dallas will be able to throw two really nice backs at Indianapolis. And
Right.
so when Dak's throwing off of play action, he's a really nice quarterback. And I think with play action against Indianapolis, I think he'll be really, really successful. I'll take Dallas by like 14.
Agree.
All right, let's go Detroit plus 1.5 versus Jacksonville. So you actually like Jacksonville. So look, this is just. But would it surprise you if Detroit won?
No, it would not.
Right.
And I mean, I said the Steelers would win on the podcast this last week, and I threw some money on Indianapolis winning. So I'm trying to. When you get a good bet, you got to take it.
Right. And yeah, so I mean, Detroit getting the 1.5 at home. Look, I think Jacksonville's a little bit overvalued just because of how good they looked last week. Because the line's been bet up to Jacksonville's favor. I think Detroit was actually favored by a point a couple weeks ago, and it's been bet to Jacksonville's side. I think they're a little bit overvalued, so I'll take Detroit here. Let's go with New Orleans plus 160 at Tampa Bay. Whether you like Tampa or not in this game, the value at plus 160 is really good considering what New Orleans has been able to do against Brady over the last 2 years now. I think Brady's only beat them one time in the regular season, and it was earlier this year.
He has been they've been his kryptonite.
Yeah, and I don't think they don't look good. I'm sorry, but like you can't show me anything that they did in Cleveland that would make me feel good about them winning this football game. You like them, but I think the value at plus 160 with New Orleans is a nice bet.
That is a good bet. I do still like Tampa to win it if I'm trying to predict for this week, but this is somewhere where I would put money. This is definitely one where you can throw in with a couple other things and mix. It win some money because I mean it's bold.
Yeah,
it's a little bold, so you're going to make some money and.
That's the point.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go with Josh Allen plus 185 anytime touchdown score. So this
I like
is him
that.
physically running the football in because it's anytime touchdown score. Throwing does not count. It's the guy who crosses the goal line with the football. So Josh Allen running a touchdown in basically, or I guess he could catch one at plus 185 anytime touchdown score.
That's a pretty solid bet.
Yeah.
That's a solid bet. I mean,
he's like their leading rusher.
When he's the workhorse of the offense, that's usually you can bet on that guy to score a touchdown.
Not only is he the workhorse of the offense, he's also their biggest, most physical runner. So where does he run a lot? In the red zone.
Yeah, and on the goal line, and they do all kinds of sneaks and stuff with him. So.
Right. So to run back through, we got Buffalo at minus 3.5 at New England, Dallas minus 9.5 versus Indianapolis, Detroit. A 1.5 underdog at home versus Jacksonville. New Orleans plus 160 at Tampa Bay. Yep. And Josh Allen plus 185 anytime touchdown score. Those are your bets on a budget coming off 3 straight winning weeks.
Should be good. Looking for a fourth, picking up and getting to 500, which I feel like we'll get there this season. It shouldn't be that hard. We're kind of catching our wave now, and we have a bigger sample size of the NFL to look at from the season, so we can kind of get a better understanding of who everybody is and what they're going to do. But, guys, that's all we have for you today. Make sure you're checking out the social media. All the links can be found in the description of the episode, wherever you're watching or listening. Sign up for the newsletter. You can do that on the website, theissuesports.com. Go there, type in your email, and hit sign up. It's that easy, so you will stay up to date with everything we're going to do on the show here. We'll give you a little sneak peek into what the next episode will look like, some of the big topics we're going to cover, and a couple of stories, along with some promotional stuff to come in the future. But, guys, thanks for hanging out with us, and that was The Issue.